Good afternoon and happy Monday. As we look at our forecast here for today, we are tracking a fair amount of sunshine. It's been a pretty nice afternoon so far, but we are starting to see some clouds rolling in, and we'll see that here for today. But temperatures are still going to be nice up into the 60s, but we are already tracking our next weather maker that is set to arrive here, looking ahead to Wednesday and Thursday. That's going to bring some rain and likely could have some impacts on trick-or-treating as we get into Thursday evening, as a lot of communities are going to be partaking in that the day before Halloween coming up here on Thursday. So we are watching that closely and looking ahead to the forecast. So let's go ahead and dive into things here as we look ahead to what's going on, at least for the next several days. And again, we have that weather maker that's going to bring rain and potentially some good rainfall across the state, especially near and east of I-71 is where some of the heavier rainfall likely will be. So the jacket, the umbrella, definitely necessary here for Wednesday and Thursday, as we are tracking again this weather maker, this area of low pressure that's going to bring widespread rain across the state. And we could be talking about some decent amounts, upwards of possibly as much as 2 inches of rainfall for some locations here once all is said and done going into Thursday evening. But as we talk about our forecast for trick-or-treating here, again, many communities enjoying that for Thursday evening, or at least trying to enjoy it, because there will still be some rain around. Now, most of the rain going to be falling Wednesday night into Thursday morning, but we are still tracking some rain showers, some wraparound showers coming in for the evening hours on your Thursday, gradually tapering off. But the question right now is, when will the rain actually end across the area? Looks like sometime during the evening. So I know trick-or-treating is going to be happening from about 6 to 8 p.m. So that's the time when things would be ending, hopefully sooner rather than later. But we are going to be tracking that for you. But despite the rain, temperatures are going to be cold, only in the 40s here for our Thursday, as we will be tracking the clouds and the rain around pretty much all day. We are seeing some cloud cover moving in right now. Temperatures are into the upper 50s, around 57. Winds out of the east at about 10 miles per hour. And because of the cloud cover, that may limit our temperatures a bit here this afternoon. I still think we could get right around to 60, maybe not getting quite to 63. As we look at our forecast here over the next 12 hours, we still could get up into the low 60s and then gradually cooling back down in the 50s and 40s looking ahead to tonight. Now on the radar, even though we are seeing the cloud cover, we're not tracking any rain today, not tracking any rain tomorrow. It's going to be Wednesday and Thursday, but we are going to deal with at least some cloud cover. But notice there is a little bit of break in the clouds, so some sunshine is still on a possibility here for this afternoon. As we are talking about the cloud cover, and reason why we're seeing it is because of this area of low pressure down into the south across parts of Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. That's kicking out the rain east of it. There across the Carolinas, and even the rain extending up into Kentucky and southern Indiana. Rain not quite making it into Ohio, but we're seeing the clouds associated with that system. That's going to stay away from us. We are tracking our weather maker that will bring us that rain. That is actually out over the Rockies and kicking out some rain into the Dakotas here this afternoon. Some snow into the higher elevations. They actually had reports of upwards of a couple of feet around Mount Rainier National Park up in Washington State, and some more snow around Glacier National Park, and even some more snow into the higher elevations of Wyoming. But we're not going to see any snow. We're just going to see the rain associated with that system as it builds in going through Wednesday and Thursday. So let's look at that here on the hour-by-hour forecast. Tracking some cloud cover building in here for this afternoon. We'll continue to see that here and there as we go through tonight into tomorrow. Really just some high clouds. I think we'll still see some sunshine here on your Tuesday, and that will allow our temperatures to reach the lower 60s here before we track more cloud cover arriving here and eventually the rain. Here we are at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. Clouds overspread central Ohio. Still dry, but the rain starts to build from the south and west as we get into the afternoon and evening. Here we are by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, tracking that rain already around Columbus, I-70 southward, but it continues to move north as we go through the evening. So by 10 p.m., could be talking about some pretty moderate rainfall, maybe some heavier rainfall where you see the yellow and a little bit of orange showing up there. So moderate rainfall is expected through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Here we are, even more rain still falling around Columbus, and that will continue through at least most of Thursday. Like I said, gradually tapering off as we get into the evening, and hopefully just in time for trick-or-treating. So we'll be watching that for you here on Thursday and really throughout the rest of the week. But notice our temperatures going from the low 60s today, 63, 64 tomorrow, and then dropping down to the 50s with rain only stuck in the 40s all day Thursday. We'll start off around 45, but only make it to 49, if that, because of all the rain around. So we actually may be stuck in the mid-40s pretty much all day Thursday with the rain, a little bit of a breeze as well. But then after that, as we head towards Friday, our temperatures will start to rebound a little bit back to the low 50s, and we have mid-50s in the forecast by Saturday and Sunday. But there will be another chance for a couple of showers as we look ahead to Sunday. But as we talk about Thursday, though, I want to show you this. This is the potential rainfall that we're looking at here. And where you see the dark blue there in northwest Ohio, that's at least a ½ an inch of rain. So the other blue, an inch of rainfall around Columbus, I-71 and northwest, less than an inch. To the southeast, an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain in some locations. So some good amounts are expected here across the state. And thankfully, it's going to be a prolonged rainfall, so not coming all at once. So that'll be able to soak in the ground and really help with the drought conditions here across the state as we go through really the middle of the week and then drying out for the weekend as we look ahead to Friday and Saturday. So that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast, but we are also tracking the tropics here this afternoon. And going through the tropics. And this is a look at Hurricane Melissa here. This is a very powerful storm that has intensified really over the last couple of days. It was a tropical storm on Friday, and now Category 5 as of Monday morning, and is getting closer to Jamaica, and that's going to bring catastrophic flooding in terms of very heavy rainfall, potential landslides, and widespread damage to homes and infrastructure there along the island nation. So let's go ahead and get a look at the latest on the system right now. You can see this is the tropical satellite in a very powerful storm, well-defined storm, and that well-defined eye south of Jamaica. And as we look at that, you can see it's been very slowly moving to the west at only about 3 miles per hour. But over the last hour or so, it's starting to make that turn to the north. And of course, that's the concern because the track of it brings it to make a landfall in Jamaica later on tonight. So let's go ahead and look at the latest numbers. And just recently, just came in, it is now up to 175 mile per hour sustained winds. That's the update at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And they found a pressure down to 906 millibars, which is a significantly low pressure. And we haven't seen a pressure that low since Hurricane Maria back in 2017. So again, this is a powerful storm, and the track of it, again, now actually moving to the west-northwest. So it's starting to make that turn to the north, and that's going to take it to Jamaica here, making landfall on the island later on tonight. And it is projected to still be a Category 5. And it's not even just the category with that wind speed of 175 miles per hour. Of course, that's extreme winds, but it's torrential rainfall. It's the storm surge and that rain leading to flash flooding. And as some of that rain falls in the higher elevations, all that rain has to come down, and that could actually trigger some landslides in the island of Jamaica here as we go through tonight and tomorrow. Now, it is projected to be down to a Category 3, but still making another landfall in Cuba by tomorrow evening, and then still having some impacts around the Turks and Caicos and even the southern Bahamas as we go through the middle of the week. So it is going to be a lot to watch here over the course of the next couple of days, with that threat for storm surge, threat for very heavy rainfall, and of course the extreme wind. Like I mentioned, now 175 mile per hour sustained winds Gusts are over 200 at times here this afternoon. So hopefully there's some weakening that goes on at least in the next 12 hours. But again, a landfall is expected in Jamaica later on tonight. Now, switching over to some climate news, a database that actually tracks the cost of weather disasters such as hurricanes and tornadoes is actually back online. So here's Jesse Mitchell with this week's Climate Watch report.
We're keeping an eye on the climate. Here's what you need to know. A major database that tracks the cost of extreme weather is back online. The nonprofit organization Climate Central revived the billion-dollar disasters database after the federal government shut it down earlier this year. And it's already showing how costly this year has been. 14 disasters in just 6 months have caused over $100 billion in damage, driven by the record-shattering LA wildfires. Meanwhile, the meat you eat could be responsible for as much climate pollution as powering your home. That's according to a new study from the universities of Michigan and Minnesota, which also found America's meat supply chains produce more emissions than the entire country of Italy. Researchers say in some places, eating half as much beef could cut as much carbon as adding solar panels to your home. And it's not just what we eat, it's how it's produced. Ahead of next month's UN Climate Summit in Brazil, a new report is calling out the world's largest meat and dairy companies for emitting more methane than all of Europe and the UK combined. The report found just 5 companies, including Tyson and Brazilian company JBS, account for nearly half of those emissions. That's your Climate Watch. For the latest on climate and environmental news, go to cbsnews.com and follow us on Instagram at CBS News Planet. I'm Jesse Mitchell in New York.
And before we go today, let's check out some new video into us here at 10 TV. This is one actually coming in from Florida as they saw some very heavy rainfall over the last 24 to 36 hours from numerous thunderstorms there in Florida. This is actually out of Titusville, where they asked residents to stay off the roads as of Sunday's heavy rain causing flooding throughout the city. The fire department there actually posted on social media saying in part, by now you have reviewed multiple weather alerts for flash flooding and significant weather in the area. And just, trying to be cautious there with how much rain fell in just such a short period of time. Talking, several inches of rain leading to those flooded roadways. So again, they were advising people to stay off the roads and just kind of hunker down until the rain cleared out of the area and things actually started to dry out and improve here, and likely we'll see that going through the next couple of days. Meanwhile, as we've been talking about in Jamaica, the intensifying winds and rough seas caused by Hurricane Melissa. You can see some of the video there showing the rough seas because of the hurricane, still well off the coast right now. But as I talked about, it is starting to make that turn to the north, and that's going to bring in some even higher surf. It's going to bring in some of that storm surge and eventually going to bring in some very heavy rainfall. And as mentioned over the weekend, it did reach Category 4 strength back on Saturday. Now, as of today, a Category 5, and we are still watching that as it is taking aim really at the island of Jamaica here in the next 12 to 24 hours, likely making landfall tonight, and that's going to lead to those extreme winds. It's going to lead to some flash flooding, and as I mentioned, that flash flooding as it's coming down some of the higher elevations could trigger a few landslides. So residents, of course, are seeking shelter, and really now is the time to really kind of hunker down here if they haven't evacuated the island here as of yet, because basically there's only about 12 hours left until that's going to be making landfall here later on tonight into Tuesday morning. So of course, we will be watching the latest on Hurricane Melissa here through tonight, tomorrow, and as it makes it landfall in Cuba going into tomorrow evening, and of course the Turks and Caicos and even the southern Bahamas. But Melissa is not expected to have any impacts for the United States here as it goes through really the next several days, eventually making its way out towards the Atlantic later on this week. So we'll be watching that for you, but we're also watching our forecast here at home, here in Ohio, with that rain that's coming in for Wednesday and Thursday. So that'll do it for us here today on 10 TV Plus for another edition of our 10 Weather Impact Show. Coming up later on this evening, Chief Meteorologist Jerry Marks will be in with the latest on the rain. So until then, you can always catch more news and weather online.